would like to give you an opportunity to be able to introduce yourself. Okay, so, but if not, we can go ahead and get right into the program. So I will say, before I introduce Lou, I will say, for those of you who have not joined us before, we for 17 years, we met every week on Saturday morning. We've recently changed that. We're having a couple of meetings per month nowadays. The first Wednesday per month is typically no Zoom, in person at Diamond Oaks Country Club there in Haltom City, which was the plan for this evening until we had the government shutdown impact us. So I think this may be the first government shutdown that's ever impacted. So, but it did, so that's fine. It's going to be fun. And then we have on the third Wednesday evening of every month, we have a small group mentoring meeting. And that used to be just for the Diamond and Platinum members of DFWREIclub, but we now have opened that up to where anyone is able to sign up and access that. Of course, the Diamond and Platinum members, it's included with their membership. So anyways, I won't go on and on about our memberships. Those are on the website at dfwreiclub.com. We've got lots of resources. The discussion forums, super valuable, by the way. If you got any questions or any comments or whatever you want to do on the discussion forum, jump on out there. You can only post if you're at least a free member, though, so you will have to do that. Had that discussion with somebody just today. So what else can I tell you here? Going once, going twice for the sponsor intro opportunity. And okay, I think we've given that opportunity now because we're 3 minutes in, right? So anyways, what else? I think that's a good enough DFWREIclub intro. Call me. I might as well go ahead and say this. Call me at 817-300-1132 after the meeting or tomorrow or anytime. Happy to answer any questions that you've got about any of this stuff. So that being said, Lou Brown. You see, Lou?
Yeah, baby.
Wait, yeah, baby. Wave at everybody, Lou. You know, so there
I'm
he
here.
is.
I'm here.
Lou
Yes.
and I go back a little bit. He has spoken for us in person and online multiple times. And no pressure, Lou, or anything like that. But I have a very small. We've had lots of speakers over the years, and I have a small group of folks that I consider the upper echelon of speakers on all things that have to do with real estate and real estate investing. And Lou is in that group, no question about it. It's a little bit difficult to distinguish, who's the best of the best, but hey, Lou is a top contender in my mind for that spot. I have been repeatedly, and I'm not just saying this because he's our speaker this evening. This is the real deal. Y'all, a lot of y'all know me. I don't just blabber on about stuff. I have been repeatedly amazed by some of the stuff that Lou has shared. And I have purchased his products and services. I don't know if you know this even or not, Lou, but I purchased your property management package once upon a time. And I used one document from it, one time, and it saved me 2 or 3 times as much money as what you charge me for the package, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I have and I've used other documents in it. It's just fantastic. And that's not even what tonight's presentation is about, but I'm just amazed, at the depth of knowledge and experience that this man has. So you've made a very wise decision joining this call this evening. So I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead. and and introduce Lou Brown. Let's give him a virtual or some kind of applause here online. Go ahead and take it away, Lou.
Robin, thank you so much for that great introduction. And I love it when people use my stuff. I love that stuff, man. That turns me on because all of it's granular. It's from the life of being in this business, buying, holding, and selling property. I've done that for over 40 years, that I'd admit to. And bought my first house when I was 18 years old. It's the first house I ever lived in. And I've had a lot of experiences over the years. And one of the things I did is every time something doesn't work, every time something isn't the way it's supposed to be, or I get caught, short, I always take a lesson. I just take a pause right then and I say, let's write that down. And then I create a paragraph, a sentence, a word, I make a change, and I update my documents. So you might have been talking about my standard rental agreement that is loaded with profit centers and protection. And that's one of the things that I created many, many decades ago, several decades ago. But every year I update that because things change. And there's always opportunities to learn. And when we learn, I open it up to my Platinum Mastermind group and I get their input as well when we open it up to update it every year. So thank you, Robin, for saying that. And definitely, I'm thrilled that that made a difference for you because it really has for a lot of folks. That's my property management system. In fact, tonight, we're actually going to be going into a series of things. Thank you all for having your cameras on. Wow. I am excited about that. I'm excited to see your smiling faces. And I love Dallas. And I'm disappointed that I'm not there in person because usually I get to come in person. We have amazing events there. But hey, this government shut down. And one of my students sent me a video from the Atlanta airport. Literally, there was like a 7-hour wait or something like that. I called Robin. I said, what are we doing here? I said, maybe we need to make an adjustment. And I love to do online. I have a lot of trainings online, so it doesn't bother me at all. It is comfortable for everybody. You don't have to get out in the traffic and beat back the elephants and all the other nonsense we have to do when we come live and in person. We can actually have a meeting together. So today, we've got our chat, and whenever you have a question, pop it in the chat, but I'm going to do the Q&A after I get through what I wanted to present to you today. And the second thing is there's a chat. So definitely communicate. I'm going to ask some questions along the way. I'd love for you to jump in and just communicate with me and let me know that you're there. Let me know that you're hearing me. And the first thing I'd like to ask is, what's your experience level? Now, I got 3 levels. You're a starter. That means maybe you own your own personal residence, but you haven't bought any rental properties or haven't flipped any properties yet. That would be a starter. And then a runner is you've done 1 to 5 properties. And then a player is 6 plus. So if you've done 6 or more properties, then yeah, you're a player. So that's starter, runner, or player. Love for you to just identify yourself and let me know who you are and all that good stuff. Let me just see what the chat says right now. All right. So let's see. We got Cindy popped it in there. Great. Joshua is a starter. Fantastic. Jason is a runner. Blake is a starter. Gaynell is a player. Robin is a player. We got Janelle. Let's see, and it's tiny little mice type, so I'm trying to see the names. Starter. We got E as a starter. We've got Zena is a starter. We've got Karen as a runner. We've got Yeshu as a runner. Let's see, jumped up starter. And then we've got John is a runner. Yeah, baby. All right, we got some great people here. All right, and we got an iPhone that's a starter. And we've got Stephen that's a starter. We've got uh, Cordelia that's a starter. We've got printer printers as a starter. We've got Kevin as a player. We've got Isabella as a starter. We got John as a player. Wow. Okay, fantastic. That is exactly what I expected to see. In other words, we're going to have the whole spectrum of folks here, which is exciting because everything that I have to share tonight, this is going to play into your world. And how do I know that? Because I am that player that's been a player now for over 40 years, playing this game, over 1,000 transactions, buying, holding, selling properties. We do it to this day. Listen, I love Texas. We've got a motel in Sweetwater, Texas, and we just started a new project rather, in Lubbock, Texas. We're going to build 465 affordable homes right there in Lubbock. So I love Texas, and I love everything that Texas stands for. So it's a beautiful thing. We got a lot to share with you, and everything that I'm going to share tonight, just know that this works in Texas. this this is something that's absolutely going to apply to your world. So let me get my slides up and we will play. Wouldn't you know, there's all kinds of things here now. Let's see if we share that. Bruce, did that come out right? Just thumbs up. Okay, fantastic. All right, so we're going to talk tonight about creative financing. And I know we did a lot of preliminary conversation about what we were going to talk about tonight, and definitely we're doing that. And
Uh,
Robin and I were
Lou,
talking.
you're showing slide number 1.
Okay, I need to. Change the display.
Yeah.
Swap presenter. Did that do it?
No.
Okay. All right.
What if you just click, should it go to the next one? There's like we could see at the bottom of your screen, it said next slide and there was an arrow.
There we go. Okay. All right. We will attempt to do it this way. How about we do this? Did that work?
Yes.
Better.
Got it.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so we're going to talk, Rob and I were talking about covering a lot of ground tonight, and really to give you some extra bonus details about what we do and how we do what we do, which is pretty remarkable and exciting. So we do have a very unique way that we do business with our clients that are our renters and our buyers, and with our sellers. So I'm going to go through that with you tonight, and it's how to profit in today's market without banks, credit, or your own cash. Now, one of the concerns that you may have is the market that we're in. By the way, I want to let you know I am going to be telling you about an upcoming event, and it is Millionaire Jumpstart, and it is December 5th through the 7th in Atlanta. And this is the last Millionaire Jumpstart I'm doing this year. We do have VIP seats available. We do have 2-for-1 tickets for the DFWREI wonderful group. I am the teacher there. It's not delegated out to other folks. I do have a free gift for you that are registering today. We do have limited availability, and we do have some capacity restrictions. So we're going to make that available to you before we're completely filled up. And we do have VIP dinner seats as well, and personal consultation certificates. So definitely I'll be talking about that, but wanted to just give you a heads up about where we're headed, because there's going to be some things that you're going to say, man, I want to know more about that. and so I just wanted you to know there is going to be an opportunity to learn more about that, whatever that is. So I wanted to talk about the housing crisis and what's going on. How do we take advantage of the housing crisis, and how do we profit in today's market without banks? Now, you're talking to somebody, you're hearing from somebody that has never been to the bank, never qualified for a loan on a single family or small multifamily property. So I am highly qualified to keep you out of banks. How many of you love keeping out of banks? How about no banks? Let's put that in the chat. No banks, no banks, no banks. That's what I'm looking for. So definitely that's my game, is to stay out of the banks. And so, you know, once you get over that hurdle to realize that you really don't need the banks, it's quite refreshing, quite encouraging, and it really opens the door to buy a lot more property. So no, it doesn't matter about your credit or how much cash you have in the bank. You literally can buy a lot of real estate. Now, I want to cover what's going on in the market right now, and I do keep up with this. We have a weekly call where we talk with our clients and we talk about, hey, this is what's going on in the marketplace right now. And when you look at the whole history of where we are today versus where we were a long time ago, from 1890 to today, well, we know we've all experienced, we've heard about the 2008, 2009 bubble and crash, the corresponding crash over 9, 10, and 11, and then it started going back up again. And this is an adjusted price index to give you some indications of what the market is doing. And interestingly enough, you might have some concerns about investing in real estate right now, because you might have concerns. Oh, well, are we at the top of the market? And would I be paying too much for the property? And what should I do, Lou? And the answer is buy. Buy everything you can get your hands on. That makes sense. Now, I'm going to go through exactly how you can safely do that and really not put yourself in a position to lose, and in fact, put yourself in a position to win greatly like we do. So you're going to literally be observing my business model as we go through this today. And I want you to take notes, because I'm going to really be laying out some very powerful things. Now, let's see if you can see that bubble there. Now, the opportunity in chaos, when most investors freeze, you can profit. Now, how can you profit? Creative deals thrive in down markets. So right now, we got people backing up. We got people, days on market are increasing. We got sellers concerned. They needed to sell, not want to sell. They need to sell. They got to do something to get out of that. So this is our opportunity to get very creative on the types of deals that we do with sellers. So the 2025 housing market is a perfect storm. Sales are at a 30-year low. Prices are plus 60% since 2019, and mortgage payments are at record highs. So what does this mean for you? Traditional buying and selling strategies are breaking down. So whatever you have been thinking that you ought to do, or whatever you have been doing, well, maybe we need to look at things from a different point of view. And this is exactly what I did back in 2010 when I introduced my house monster. And I said, okay, hello, guys, wake up, smell the coffee. Things have changed and we need to change with it. There's opportunities for us, but we need to pay attention to what the market is doing and how to protect ourselves. Now, here's an important thing for you to know. The ups and downs of the market are by design. They do not happen happenstance. They are by design. That means that the people that want to profit from a disrupted market already know they're going to do exactly that. They know it 6 months to a year in advance of when the trends actually start occurring. So what happens is media is reporting, and then they get bored with that. No, they actually get fed information on what to say to the marketplace, and they create the trends. They create people going in a different direction than what they're going in. So what I want you to be aware of is we need to know that that's exactly how it's going to go, that they are going to do things that are going to disrupt the market, and your whole game is survival. Your whole game in this wonderful thing called real estate is survival. Why? Because you cannot help but win. Now, why do I mean by that? Listen, interest, excuse me, inflation is a real thing. It's always been with us. It always will be. $1 in January is a different dollar in December. Literally, it's worth 3% less historically. So we know that we're starting with $1 in January, and we're going to have 97 cents in December. Now, who wins in a game like that? People with assets. They are the winners because they always benefit from the deflation of the dollar and the increase of the value of the assets. Now, that's number one. Number two, if it's income producing real estate, you also have a hedge against that inflation because you can raise your rents. And you should expect, I'm talking to my landlords on here, you should expect to raise your rents each and every year. In fact, you should plan on it. My standard rental agreement has it built in. We tell people their rent is going in. When they sign that rental agreement, we tell them, unless otherwise notified, the rent shall increase 10%, and that's after the 12-month period of time. So we're already getting them pre-framed with the knowledge that the rents will go up. Now, do we raise the rents? Absolutely, positively, every time. Why? Because the dollar is worth less. It's something you got to know. It's baked in. So if you're not raising your rents, you need to be raising your rents. Take a note. Make sure that you go back, and if you haven't yet raised your rents, you need to do that and try to just keep up with inflation. But you have the other benefit of the appreciation of the properties. Those of you that said that you are runners and players, you know what I'm talking about. You're getting the benefit of the increase of those properties. Now, the other side of the coin is we want to buy more properties. Well, how are we going to buy those properties right? How are we going to buy them cheap? Well, this is time for a different playbook, because millions of Americans cannot qualify for a traditional mortgage right now. Under age 35, home ownership rate is falling. So that's a terrible thing. We have 64.9% home ownership rate in America. That means that 35% of Americans don't own a home in their name. It's an enormous market. So if we are, who knows how many people we are, 325, 350 million people in this country. Now, when you take the numbers and say 35% of that, oh my gosh, that's over 100 million people that do not have a home. Now you say, okay, well, that's interesting. What do I do about that? Well, you're going to be able to purchase those properties. But what we do is we find those buyers. We find people that want to own homes, but yet have not bought a home yet. I'm going to get into that in more detail. So find your buyer before you buy is my advice. This is a gold mine. Convert the renters that you already have into potential owners. And we have something called the path to home ownership, where we secure the profits before you buy. Now, 50% plus of renters are burdened by costs. In other words, it's not affordable for them. Affordable rentals are disappearing nationwide. So why are we thriving? What is it that sets us apart? It's because of how we offer what we offer. We get the cream that rises to the top. I'm going to show you how we do that. So you get another thing we do for our clients, we don't call them tenants, by the way, we call them clients. We have services that we provide to them and we get paid for that. So we have 25 plus profit centers to turn tenant headaches into premium cash flow. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Now, inventory shifts equal hidden niches. So there's different ways we can take advantage of the market that we're in. So some people, they have to have a smaller home, fewer amenities, and perhaps mobile home. Your unfair advantage is that you can acquire properties others can't touch, because I'm going to teach you some creative financing opportunities. And going way back to when I bought my first house when I was 18 years old, I was able to do that by taking over someone else's loan. I did not have to qualify for that loan. It was called an NENQ loan, non-escalating, non-qualifying loan. So for 45, no kidding, guys, for $45, I could step in and take over someone else's loan. It was awesome, awesome sauce. And then in 1982, they passed the Garn-St. Germain Federal Depository Institutions Act, and that gave the banks the right to put the due upon sale clause in the mortgage. How many of you know what a due upon sale clause is? Yeah, you all know what I'm talking about. So as a result of that, what happened? Well, they took away my candy, or at least I thought they did, until I read the law. When I read the law, I found out that indeed I could do something very unique, very different. I could actually have the seller place their property into their trust, and I could come along and purchase the beneficial interest of that trust. I could buy 100% of their beneficial interest and thereby eliminate the need to go to the bank and qualify for a loan and all the expense that goes with a mortgage. Now, think about that for just a second. If you close on a single loan, how many of you have gotten loans before? Raise your hand. How many of you? Oh, see, yeah, baby. So, so if you remember what that closing statement looked like, and you remember all the prepaids, and you remember all the expenses that it took to do that loan, well, think about this. we bypass all those expenses. That is profit. That's money in our pocket because we don't go to banks and we don't qualify for loans. So I've said it once, I'll say it again. I don't go to banks, I don't qualify for loans, and you don't need to either, because you've got the opportunity to what? Give the seller an opportunity to sell their property for more. So we actually show the seller what's in it for them to allow us to take over their financing. More on that in just a moment. So now I'm going to share with you my wealth plan. And I want to lay this out for you to show you that to have success in this business, and if you want to really excel at this business, you want to look at it as a business. You don't want to look at it as, I want to buy and sell a house. You want to have a business that buys and sells houses, serves clients, receives income, and serves them over a long period of time. Now, why? Because I am a believer in cash now, cash flow, and cash forever. So if you like the idea of being able to have a business model that actually delivers that, then I'm going to show you my wealth plan. All right, so first things first, we find the buyer when? First, before we go find the property. Isn't that interesting? So in other words, we can custom buy a property for a customer, knowing how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, but most importantly, how much down payment they have to work with and how much they can afford on a monthly basis. So as a result of pre-qualifying our customers, then we go about finding a property that matches their situation, that we can buy right and buy cheap and buy creatively. So in that concept, then we're able to make a spread and have no risk because we've already got our customer. So that's why I said, I don't care what the market's doing. I don't care about bubbles. I don't care about any of that stuff. Listen, when the market crashed before, guess what? There were people in homes paying mortgages. They said, I'm not going anywhere. I don't care if my property's gone down in value. I still need a place to live. And they kept paying mortgages. Now, I'm not saying everybody did. I'm saying the large majority of loans across the country, people continue to make payments. Now, there was only a few hot spots in the country that actually had recessions and depressions. There were other places in the country that property values did not go down. They stayed even, and people stayed in their homes, and nothing changed in those parts of the country. And there were many, many markets across the country that were not impacted at all. So when you understand how bubbles work, they don't work across the entire economy. They happen in certain places. So that's when I learned that this business, if I hadn't have been where I was in life, if I hadn't have stayed out of banks, if I hadn't have gotten some guidance to really just realize that that was the safest place to be, then boom, I would have ended up one of the casualties like so many people were. So I said, I got to do something different here. So what I decided to do was flip the script on real estate and said, the toughest thing I ever did in real estate was selling a property. And that was always the mystery. When is it going to sell? How long is it going to take? How much is it going to cost me? Are there going to be surprises at the closing or before the closing? I have to fix up something else, make them happy, get through the HUD guidelines, all of this stuff, and go through that pain and suffering, and then have a payday sometime later. And along the way, deal with contractors. They got it built right in their name, don't they? Contractor. So they might take advantage of you along the way and then run over you like a tractor and do it again. So I just learned that if I just took this whole business apart and said, where are my fail points? Where are the places that I can lose? Then I can win. So I said, okay, let's figure out about this, find the buyer first. So what I did was create an entire strategy around that. I call it the house monster. And we provide all the marketing materials to bring in those customers. And these customers are quite awesome. And we're able to work with them even before they move in. We put them into our membership. And then while they're living there, we're able to build up their income, their down payments, and their credit score. And then eventually they can get a new loan from the bank, or we can be the bank for them. And so I said, okay, I love this idea. So why don't we find a buyer first, and then we're going to buy the property. We're going to buy it right. We're going to buy it cheap. We're going to buy it with leverage. And then we're going to create income with this customer in a couple of ways. One is the down payment that they give me. And the second is the monthly income. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. They're just going to keep paying me on and on. And a lot of people have a job and they would like to get out of that job. And the way they have to get out of that job is to have income. And if they don't have income, they can't get out of the job. So how many of you would like to be out of a job, not working for someone else, right? So if you're currently working for someone else, then stay tuned, because this is going to give you a pathway to be able to get out of that job. So the next favorite thing I've got is creating a business model that delivers tax benefits to us, that no matter how much personal income we might have, if we want to get out of that job, well, one of the things that can help us is tax benefits. Now, the other thing is whenever we sell a property, what does that look like? Capital gains taxes and recapture of depreciation they gave is like an Indian giver. They gave it to you and then they take it back. That's not fair. So I said, okay, never mind that. What if we have a business model where we can have our tax benefits and keep our tax benefits and put us in a position to legally reduce our taxes forever? So that's exactly what I'm laying out for you, is a business model that not only gives you income from the get-go when that customer shows up in your world, we start making money then, and then we make money when we place them into the house, and then we make money while they're there using tax benefits. Now, ultimately, what I want to teach you is to become the bank, to be the bank. Instead of going to banks and qualifying for loans, no, you need to become the bank. And what happens there is a beautiful thing. You get an amazing cash flow off of the properties because you become the bank. Now, that creates retirement accelerators. So a lot of people join me and they say, Lou, I want to be in a position to retire in 10 years or 7 years or 5 years or 1 year. So whatever your goals are, amazingly, that can be delivered. So we have created something that's quite unique, different, unlike anything else out there in the world. And we are big believers that you can get there much sooner than paying down, and paying off a loan. So when you have excess cash flow, the next thing that's available to you is paying down the mortgages. And that can get you freedom sooner. So in other words, excess cash flow, pay down, and pay off the loans. Now, the next thing is that you're going to use profit centers to create even more income to get out of the job even sooner. So this is a very unique thing. You've never seen this from anybody else. In fact, there's several things here you've never seen from anybody else, but the profit centers that I determined over time that we could deliver services and benefits to our clients that either lived in our homes or moved into our homes. And as a result of that, we could layer on additional cash flow on each property. And it was quite the eye-opening experience when I realized that that was possible. And that accelerates your cash flow, creating even more income to get out of the job even sooner. And then next is a very, very important aspect of the whole wealth plan, and that is protecting assets by avoiding lawsuits. Now, what does that mean? That means that, hey, at any time, any business owner can be in a situation where they get sued. Hey, it's so cheap for somebody to create a lawsuit against you for anything. And boom, as soon as they get that lawsuit served, boom, here we go. Now you've got to defend yourself, and it's usually a couple of years or longer before you're out of that pain and suffering. Might even end up with a huge judgment because it wasn't even fair, and that's how the game works. It's kind of a 50-50 chance whether you're going to win or lose. So I say, think ahead, plan ahead, protect ahead. You need to move your properties out of your name. If you own properties in your name, you need to get them out of your name. How many of you have properties right now in your own name? You see, that's what I want to educate you about. It makes it so easy for someone to come, look on public record at the address of a property, find out it's you, and then sue you. And no place to run to, no place to hide is what that's called. What I encourage you to do is place your properties into trust. And in fact, place each property into its own trust. So separate and segregate the liability of each property that you have from each other, and then your beneficial interest is not shown on public record anywhere. It's a private document. It's a contract between the trustee and the beneficiary. And then, I said that there's a lot of doors I'm going to open today, and I'm going to close those doors at Millionaire Jumpstart because I got a lot more to share with you on these subjects. And in the center is study, learn, systemize, and improve. So as we work together, what we're going to do is lay this whole business model out. Now, why am I taking the time to share this with you? The answer is that every one of you have the opportunity to have not only a $1 million business, but a multi-million-dollar business. Now, how do I know this? Because I've helped many people do it all across America. I have licensees of my system in all 50 states. And I have some amazing, amazing successes that I can tell you about. But definitely, it is a very exciting thing when you have a holistic business model, not just trying to do an aspect of this here and there. I call it the patchwork quilt, where you take an idea from here and a concept from there and a form from another place, and you try to cobble that together into a business. How many of you know what I'm talking about? You got the bits and pieces from all over the place, and nothing fits, nothing matches, nothing's coordinated, integrated, or complete, except ours. Ours brings it all together in a very holistic way so that you're able to benefit from all aspects of what you're up to throughout the whole experience of building your business. So as we're working together, we're going to delve into each one of these, and we're going to help you to really understand what to do and how to do it. Now, there's 3 pillars to the Street Smart system. One is buying right without banks. And that means buying subject to the existing loan. That means the seller is the bank. That's my favorite saying. The seller is the bank. So we're going to get seller financing and finding the buyers first. Now, we also believe in buying right and buying cheap. So how in the world am I able to do that? Well, I'm going to show you. Now, the next thing is maximizing your cash flow strategies. And that is my path to home ownership strategy, where we activate the 25 plus profit centers over and above what a normal landlord gets. So all of my landlords on here, listen up, baby. I'm going to show you something special. And becoming the bank. And then the third thing is protecting and keeping your wealth. And that means we need to separate you from your assets, putting your assets in a safe place, even putting your bank account into trust, so that if you become a target, somebody gets a judgment against you, they can't get a dime, because they cannot attack anything. If they got a judgment against you, they would not be able to access these assets. So the other benefit is avoiding probate. That's another thing we'll talk about, and creating privacy. So finding buyers first. Why 90% of real estate investors fail, and it's not what you think. The problem everyone gets wrong is that most investors focus on finding properties first. And that was probably you when you got here today. That everybody's out beating the bushes trying to find a house, trying to find a deal, trying to find a multifamily or a small multifamily. And there's nothing wrong with that. But imagine that we're putting ourselves at risk. We might buy the wrong house in the wrong neighborhood at the wrong price with the wrong things wrong with it, and get the wrong contractor and get into the wrong market. And all of a sudden we're lost. So what I encourage you to do is, let's go find that buyer. Let's go find that buyer first, and then we can't get ourselves in that situation because we've already got our customer in line. So what happens is you end up, if you're in that mindset of go find the property first, then you're competing with cash buyers. You've probably experienced that, where Wall Street is here and foreclosure sharks are at the steps. You know, I'm not one of them guys. I don't go to the foreclosure steps because it's shark infested waters. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if my money's going to get tied up into a lawsuit. And I've seen all of this happen over the years. It's just not fun for me. I want to find sellers that need me, that need to sell, not want to sell. And I want to find sellers that have options. They have plenty of equity. They're not in a hurry. I love those kind of sellers. They're my favorite because they can be the bank for me and they can be the bank for you. So when we go visit with a seller, we have an entire process that we do. In fact, we give the sellers my book. It's called Doing Good While Doing Well: How Real Estate Investors Provide a Service and Make a Difference. And when I give them the book, I fan it out and I say, we are part of a nationwide network of affordable housing providers from all over the country. And I've put my card where my chapter is. And these are chapters of other people from all over the country that are doing exactly what I'm doing. Now, what am I doing? I am building credibility. And that's what you want, because I just said earlier exactly what I'm up to. I want the seller to be the bank. So in order for the seller to be the bank, you have to ooze credibility. They have to want to do business with you. They have to feel that you can deliver on your promises. So how you show up is a big deal. You want to show up with your certified affordable house provider. You want to show up with your book. You want to show up with a presentation that you make to the seller. We want to build confidence that we have a solution that's going to benefit them and they can sleep easy. So yes, we have a process on that. And a lot of people depend on banks for traditional financing, and we know what that looks like. You know, interest rates up and down, and banks close doors and open doors, and you never can tell when they've got open to buy, whether they love you or hate you. And one of the things I've seen over my career is people, you know, they put their eggs in the basket. The bank does a blanket loan over there, they get in trouble, the market changes, whatever happens, all of a sudden they don't have the cash flow, and boom, the bank just comes and takes everything they've got. The deal in Lubbock that I'm in right now is exactly that. The builder got in trouble with the bank. The bank says, we're done with you. And they started to take his 80 acres of land. And he came to me through one of my licensees and said, I'm about to lose everything. He's built over 1,000 houses. He's no numbnuts. This guy knows what he's doing. And yet he got into a divorce. And all of a sudden his cash flow is going towards defending that divorce, and boom, he was about to lose everything, literally lose everything. $5 million worth of equity and all kinds of good stuff. So the banks are ruthless, guys. And that's one of the reasons I stay out of banks. I encourage my licensees to stay out of banks. I say, look, there's another way you can do this business and you can be highly successful doing it the way I'm teaching you to do it. So we don't depend on banks for financing. And a lot of people, not knowing any better, just become landlords. They buy the house, maybe they buy at a good deal, but let's face it, whatever your debt service is, property taxes, insurance, everything, that's your expenses. And whatever the rent is, that difference, that's your profit. And hopefully a water heater or a roof or something else doesn't go out on the property and eat up your cash flow for the next year or two. But what if you actually have a different kind of client? So I'm going to show you what we do that's different than what landlords do. I'm a big believer in buying and holding properties long term. So don't think that I don't believe in that. I absolutely believe in that. I teach that. I love it. I think it's the best thing ever. And you got to get yourself out of landlording, because that's the most miserable place to be. I'm not a fan of landlording, but I am a fan of long-term holds that I can help people with. So what I encourage you to learn is it's not about the property, it's about the buyer. So the $1 million shift for you is find your buyer before you buy the property, eliminate competition by creating deals others cannot touch, and become the bank instead of going to the bank. So you're becoming a bank for your customer. That means that whatever down payment they have to work with, great, we can work with one of our programs. So what does that look like? Well, first, let's talk about the 3 major focus areas of a successful real estate business. So there's 3 aspects that I want you to focus on: buying, selling and holding, and protecting all that you create. So let's focus on buying for a moment. Now, how do I get sellers to cooperate with me? Well, I gave you one secret a moment ago, and that is I show up with full-blown credibility, with a book to gift them, really giving them every reason to want to do business with me, right? So that's one piece of the puzzle. The next thing is when I'm talking to the seller, I present that book. Mr. Jones, thank you so much for the opportunity to look at your property and work with you today. I wanted to let you know I'm part of a nationwide network of affordable housing providers from all over the country. We work with sellers like you and houses like this in our program to help deserving families end up with home ownership regardless of credit or financial background. How does that sound? Now, guys, you just heard my pitch. You just heard my speech. You just got the script. That's what I say to sellers. Well, now, how does it sound to you? Just answer that in the chat. How does it sound to you? Does that sound like a good thing? Does that sound like, yeah, baby, that sounds like a beautiful thing? And so one of the surprises that I had was finding that mattered to sellers, that who they sell their house to, if they have options, matters to them. They care because they have an emotional attachment to that house. They raised their kids there. Grandma died in the back bedroom. The dog's buried in the backyard. They've got an emotional attachment to that. And most investors come in and try to surgically remove them from their house. And they don't really give them the care and feeding they should, and really love up on them a little bit and talk to them about, hey, you can be part of changing someone else's trajectory in life. You can be part of helping someone else win. Sellers love it. I'm telling you. And not only that, they give me great financing, being the bank for me, because I'm going to go put a deserving family into that home. So this is important for you to know. Now, when we go to the seller's house, we go fully equipped with a presentation. We tell them who we are, what we do, how we can help, how we're different, how we're able to purchase their property, and what the costs are going to be in selling the property. And then we go through people that we've helped in the past and been able to solve their problems, and the fact that we can help them as well. Then we got a cheat sheet of forms or information that we need to get from them. And what do you know? We tell them the different kind of offers that we can make, and we get to this magical thing called the cost to sell worksheet. Now, this cost to sell worksheet, my friends, is absolute pure gold. I'm going to tell you right now, this is the magic. When I'm sitting down with a seller, man, it is so much fun, because after I go through the presentation, now remember, I've given them the book, gone through the presentation. Now I'm going to hand them that sheet, and the seller is going to enter the numbers. And we're going to go down that sheet together and literally talk about each one of the typical costs to sell a property. So as a result of that experience, the seller's going, aha, this is going to cost me to get out of this property. And we're educating them along the way. We're not deceptively doing anything. We're showing them the facts. And the way we present it is, Mr. Jones, thank you so much. I wanted to give you some facts. Are there any questions that you have? Okay, great. The next thing I need to do is I need to calculate what it's going to cost us to sell your home. So when we calculate our costs, then we know what we can pay you, and you can transparently see how we arrive at our numbers. How does that sound? Oh, they love it. So I hand them the sheet, hand them a pen or a pencil, whatever, and then I do the calculating and they enter the numbers. Well, that is magic, folks. I'm telling you. And all those expenses are going to be deducted from what? The asking price for the home. So all these expenses get deducted. Now, I've already given you the answer, but think about it. What if you already have a buyer? So all the typical cost to sell is going to become profit for you because you've already got a buyer lined up. And that buyer already has down payment money, and you already know what they can afford on a monthly basis. Boom, shakalaka. That is a beautiful thing, because now we've already got our customer and we've got our seller. Now, we're going to purchase that home in what? A trust. And we're going to purchase that home in a trust. So who are we in the deal? We're the manager. So we're not going to represent ourselves to the seller or the buyer as the owner. We're going to represent ourselves as a manager. How do I become a manager? Because you're going to be hired by the trustee of the trust. Yes, I've got all these documents. I've got everything. I'm going to walk you step by step through how this works, but it is absolute gold. Now, so a lot of people approach creative financing by going to the seller and just trying to get them to be creative off the bat, without any warm-up, without any presentation. They just jump right into trying to buy the property subject to the existing loan, or jump right into the seller financing. It's like, hold on, give it a minute here. So what do I do? Look, when we get down to this bottom line, my first offer to the seller is a cash offer. It's a cash offer. Now, you might be nervous. You say, oh my gosh, Lou, I don't have the cash. Don't worry about it. I've already built in 5 points and 15% interest right into the cost to sell, because you're going to have to find that money, right? So you might go to a hard money source. Well, we've already built in that cost in there. So if you get down to the final bottom line and it's a cash offer, they're fine if they say yes. But if they say no, guess what? Right there on that same sheet where I showed the 5 points and 15%, I'm now going to show the seller how I can increase my offer if I can take over their existing financing, or if the seller will carry back financing, or a combination of the two. How many of you are learning anything tonight? Is this a beautiful thing? Are you getting some good cookies tonight? I love it. Go to the chat. Let me know. I'm learning. Let me know. All right. So this is really what I perfected about 20 years ago. And it has been just so incredibly valuable to myself and my licensees all over America. This is what they do. They make the presentation. They go through the cost to sell worksheet. Now, when you come to Millionaire Jumpstart, we're actually going to do a workshop with that cost to sell worksheet. I'm going to give you your own, and I'm literally going to be at the front of the room. I'm going to give you the numbers, and you're going to do your own calculating. You're going to understand exactly how it works, and that's going to be part of the training right there in class. So in fact, when you come, I'm going to give you a special manual, and the manual is chock full of great documents that are some of my very best work from over the many years that I've been in the business. So, and you're going to get my latest purchase and sale agreement. You're going to get a lot of goodies. So definitely that's one of the key things that I'm going to be giving you as a result of joining me for 3 days, and us going through this presentation process. So, you know, we we go through a process in order to eliminate the seller's fears and also to overcome their objections, any kind of objections they might have. We've already got it laid out in the presentation to overcome those. And so we shift from confrontation to collaboration when they're actually helping us arrive at our offer price, right? So the next is the selling and the holding. So why this is the 25 plus profit center plan. So why most landlords leave $50,000 on the table per property? It's simply because they're missing one of the key factors that I learned years ago when I was a landlord. And I said, man, this is a lot of pain and suffering here. I'm not enjoying this at all. I am dealing with alien beings from another planet. I'm dealing with challenges, tenants, toilets, trauma, trash. I'm dealing with all this stuff. I said, I'm not really enjoying this, but I really am enjoying the cash flow. So I got to figure something out. So I decided that I needed to get on the other side of the table with them. And in fact, I sat up in bed one night and I said, thank you, God, for showing me real estate. The only problem is all these problems. And if I can figure out a way to do this. So I listed everything I didn't like about landlording. You might enjoy this little exercise tonight too. And you just list everything you don't like about it, right? And then I said, how can I resolve all of those issues? And this is what I came up with. And it is pure, absolute magic. And as a result of that, I make a lot more money on every single rental property than any other landlord out there. I'm going to show you how that works. So most investors only know 2 or 3 ways to make money from a property. Like I said, the difference between the debt service and what they rent it for, boom, that's the profit. Well, not me. It's a lot more than that. Most people focus on the rent and the appreciation, and they have no exit strategy. So what happens is at some point in life, you might wake up and say, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I'm a burned out landlord. I love to buy from burned out landlords. I just helped one of my licensees not too long ago get, now he lives in South Carolina, but he bought 2 packages in Oklahoma and in a little town called Enid, Oklahoma. And I said, okay, Tracy, I'm going to show you exactly how this works. Now, we laid out a plan to work with those sellers. They inherited 2 different packages, but they were relatives, but they each were like brothers and they each had their own thing. And so their families inherited these things. They didn't want to do it anymore. They had spent fortunes already on the properties and they just want to be done with it. So we proposed them the entire package, seller financing, the 2 different packages. And they wanted some money down. And we were able to work with the sellers to actually put the lender of the down payment money in first position. So the seller financing is in second position. It turned out fantastic. And so as a result, what did we do with those people? I'm about to show you. You want to have a built-in exit strategy. You want to, if you wake up one day and don't want to do this anymore, what's your plan? Well, if you're like most landlords, you don't have a plan. You literally don't have a plan. Either dying is a plan. Now you're going to leave it to your family who doesn't want anything to do with it, right? Please, nothing. Oh God, no, not those rental properties again. So then you feel forced to sell them before you die. And, you take a cut on what they're worth. Well, let me show you something else that really has become quite unique. And this is my path to home ownership plan. Now, every one of my tenants is on the path to home ownership. And so what we have is a cash now, cash flow, cash forever plan. And what we do is we grow people up. And so when they show up in our world, remember, we're getting our buyer first. So we're going to be able to what? Vet them. How do they come into our world? They become members. They become members of our program. When they become a member, we put them with a licensed mortgage loan originator that does a complete workup on them, collects up all their data, all their information, all their tax returns, collects all of that stuff up and tells us in a one-page document, a one-page report, exactly who we're working with. Then using that information, we go about finding a property. And by the way, that buyer actually becomes part of the team. We tell them how to find properties in neighborhoods and bring us those leads. We don't need their help going online. We can do that. We need them to go out in the field and bring us opportunities. And they do. So it's a quite unique way to approach things. Now, when we get this one-page report, sometimes these people have good enough credit and good enough down payment to actually qualify for a loan. So what do? We sell them a house and we make the money. We make the money right then. Now, sometimes these people have at least 10% to put down. So they go into our our owner financing, our in-house financing program. And then sometimes they have less than 10%. So we put them into our rent to own plan. And if they have even less than that, they could qualify at the rent level. So you've got what, 4 different levels. I've even got a 5th level that's the VIP level, and it's the house on layaway program. So literally everybody that approaches us, they can join some level of our program. How many of you like this so far? How many of you like Path to Home Ownership? Say love PTHO in the chat. Love PTHO. And that is very inspirational because it's so unique. It's so different. The public absolutely loves it. Look, I had one lady move in. Her name is Robin. She moved into one of my properties and she has 9 daughters, all whose names begin with P, like Portia, Porsche, Penelope. I mean, literally 9 daughters, all with P. 4 of her daughters have gotten houses from us on our rent to own program. So not only does she have one, but 4 daughters. Her goal is for all 9 daughters to have a house from us. Now, this is game changing, isn't it? This is literally life changing and so exciting to be a part of changing people's lives. I love it, love it, love it. And it's so different from landlording. You got people that want to be in the house. You got people that want to pay you. You've got people that want a future and they've got the right mindset. So they're fixing up the property. They're painting walls. They're changing out floors, roofing houses. They do all kinds of great work to the properties, and I don't pay for it. I love that. In fact, we even offer our properties up front for them to do some or all of the repairs. And in exchange, we give them a credit towards their down payment. So we've got a lot of ways that they can bring down payment money to the table. And finally, I want to offer you and let you know about control everything, own nothing. And the real plan is just don't own anything in your own name. Now, protecting all that you create, the critical key that almost no one knows about, and I call them the 4 Ps, and it is privacy, protection, profits, and probate avoidance. So there's 4 things that you can get from trusts that are amazing. In fact, there's 30 different benefits that you can get from trusts that you cannot get from an LLC, a corporation, or a limited partnership. So if you got some of that stuff, well, let me tell you something. There's something better than that. There's something that you can add to your repertoire when you learn about trusts and literally leverage yourself up on another 30 benefits that come to you because of that. But I'll narrow it down to 4 right now. Privacy. Your name is no longer on public record. You're going to deed out of your name into the trust name. Your name is no longer the owner. Somebody wants to sue you. Somebody gets a judgment against you. they're not going to get a judgment against that property because that property is not in your name. And in fact, there's going to be a third-party trustee that's not you that's going to actually be able to control and keep you out of the line of fire and keep your equity safe. So it's the best entity on the planet, bar none. Nobody knows about it. It's the best thing ever. And it's so much fun to teach people about it because the light bulbs just explode. I show you how to open a bank account in your name. I show you how to deed out of your name into the trust name. It's very inexpensive to do this, by the way. It's just the cost of recording a deed, which is not expensive at all. And you don't have to pay transfer tax because you are gifting your property to your trust, and therefore there's no transfer tax you have to pay. And I know that's an ugly thing in Texas. So that's something we want to definitely make sure that we avoid. You can make more profits. Now, how? I taught you earlier about buying properties subject to the existing loan. One of my favorite things on the planet, if there's a loan, I'm interested in it because that's money I don't have to raise. And all the closing costs have already been paid on that loan. And I can just step in and take over payments. What a beautiful thing. Well, that loan can be called. I told you it's got a due upon sale clause in it. How in the world can we do this? Because that law, that 1982 law, has in it a clause that says, except when you place your property in trust. So in other words, they can't call the loan due when you place your property in trust. So I show you how to do that. So what you do is you don't buy the property. You buy the beneficial interest of the trust that owns the property. So we come in stealthily, quietly, and purchase personal property, which is the beneficial interest of the trust. So the real estate goes into the land trust, but we don't buy the land trust. We come along and use our personal property trust to buy the beneficial interest of the land trust. So as a result of that, it's very safe to do it that way. The lender cannot call the loan due. So now what did you just do? So you got your name off public record. You created more protection for yourself because they're going to have to go through a horrific expense in order to be able to acquire that property. And then you got more profits because you can take over existing loans on property using trusts. And the fourth one is avoiding probate. Now, this is something that your LLC, your corporation, your limited partnership, that ain't going to avoid probate. The only thing that avoids probate is a thing called trust. So when you put your property in trust for estate planning purposes, it eliminates probate. I love it. It's the best thing ever. And in fact, those of you that join me, I'm going to have a special training, not this coming Saturday, but the following Saturday. I'm going to give you a special link to that training. We're going to have 2 hours on just trusts, on just this subject right here. It's the best thing ever. Been doing it since 1983. I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about. I've got licensees in all 50 states using my trusts and have had amazing success, and they've really been able to prevent a lot of problems. So, I've been doing this for a while, if you figured that out yet. And I know a thing or two about a thing or two. And so, you've got an opportunity. So Jeff Weiler joined me. He was at a REIA, and he said, Lou, I've spent over $100 grand on other stuff that I didn't get any benefit from. And, then he went on to do exactly what I told him to do. Within 8 months, he was up to $8,000 a month, and he continued. He's still a coaching client to this day. He does extremely well and has done well over 50 properties with me. Now, Kevin Schreiber, over 135 properties. And with that Path to Home Ownership plan, he's got 31 families that have popped the top. He's brought his son in, and his son has his own portfolio now. His son joined me at 22 years old, and now he's got 18 properties. He's now married. He's got a baby. He's got another baby on the way. And this has paved the road. He quit college because of me. He quit college because of me. And he said, this is all I want to do, Lou. And so he learned my whole process, and now he's got his own business. And Terry Kerr, he's at Mid-South Properties in Memphis, Tennessee. And what he does is buy houses right, buys houses cheap, tears everything out, puts all new in, and then he sells them to investors, and he keeps the management. So he gets a markup on the house, and then he gets the management ongoingly. Well, he's got 5,800 properties. I just interviewed him for my podcast, and he was just singing the praises, baby, of my whole enchilada of real estate investing. And he said, I have used your purchase and sale agreement on 5,800 transactions. And he was talking about how good it was and how much it had saved him and all that sort of thing. So definitely want you to know that you're learning from somebody that has been able to help a lot of people. Over 40 years in the business, over 1,000 transactions, never borrowed from a bank. I was the founding president of the National REIA, National Real Estate Investors Association. We have over 40,000 members. I've got students operating successfully in all 50 states, and media recognition as the nation's leading expert on buying, holding, and selling property the most profitable way. Been on many stages with amazing people: Brian Tracy, Tom Hopkins, Susie Orman, Mark Victor Hansen, Dan Kennedy, Bill Gates, and yes, even Donald Trump, who used to be a real estate investor. So imagine we got a real estate investor in the White House. It's so wild. And this is the house that I bought when I was 18 years old. And I've never gone to a bank. Remember, that's the first one I bought without going to banks and without qualifying for loans. And to this day, never been to a bank and never qualified for a loan. So that is the street smart way. I've been teaching you the street smart method. This is my company. We've been in business since 1992, helping real estate investors, helping thousands earn millions, really, and really being able to do an amazing job with that. So I hope Atlanta is in your eyesight, because I want to tell you about the upcoming Millionaire Jumpstart. Now, this is my event that really just brings together everything that you just learned and spreads it over 3 days, because I need to slow this car down. I need to break it down into pieces, give you documentation. We treat it like a workshop. So you're going to be able to work through each one of these things. Now, this is a 3-day intensive workshop covering everything you need to know, complete system with forms, contracts, and scripts, live business plan, and trust creation right there in class. And there's multiple ticket options for different commitment levels. Now, we do have the VIP Elite, and that is the 3-day event in Atlanta, the manual, the live business plan creation. Now, that's one thing that I do at Jumpstart. How many of you know you need a business plan? Everybody knows you need a business plan. What have you done? You've not gotten around to doing your business plan. Why didn't you do it? Because you didn't know how. So we're actually going to do this in class and step by step, literally go through, and you're going to be creating your own business plan at your seat. And I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to give you your own Doing Good While Doing Well book right there in class. I'm going to give you a live copy of that. I'm going to give you the pre-event homework package. So prior to the event, I send you some homework so that you can come completely geared up and be able to do deals. I give you a graduation certificate. I told you about the presentation process that we do with sellers. So we like to show them that we have our certifications, and we include that in our presentation process. Now, not only am I giving you a ticket, but you can also bring a family member, a spouse, especially spouses. I know they don't want to hear about real estate anymore, but listen, you just bring them to the event. I'll take it from there. You don't even worry about it. I'll take it from there. Just bring them to the event. Don't even worry about it. I got you covered. I got you covered. They're going to love real estate, not like it, love it because of what I'm going to share with them. So that free guest ticket is for friends, family, anyone, a team member, anyone you want to bring with you. And yeah, we do have it virtual, but I'm going to really encourage you to be in person if you possibly can be. Now, the VIP Elites, this is a one-time payment of $496 that covers the 3-day event. It gives you VIP seating with a comfort cushion, an extra cushion than just the chair for your back or your butt. And I'm going to give you a table as well. So we've got restricted quarters there. So our VIPs sit up front and they get special treatment. Priority early entry, seat selection, and you get exclusive Saturday VIP networking dinner. So I'm going to take you to dinner. I'm going to pay for it. And you get to network with all the other VIPs. I love that. It's a great experience. And then also one of the most valuable things, in fact, probably the most valuable thing, is the 30-minute private consultation with me. I give you my calendar link. You can book anytime you want to. You can book it during the event or prior to the event or after the event. So if you have a real estate deal or a challenge or an issue or a lawsuit or need some help with your trust paperwork or whatever it might be, I'm happy to help you with that. So that's our free consultation. Well, it comes with your package and you can use that anytime you want to. Now, that's when you come live and in person. If you do in Atlanta and on stream, live stream, then you also are going to get the premium cooler with gifts and goodies that are, it's loaded with all kinds of goodies in the premium cooler. And you're going to get a recording of a previous Millionaire Jumpstart. Now, what's going to happen during the 3 days? As you've seen tonight, probably, I've given a lot of content, haven't I? And so as a result of that, you're going to see 3 days of a lot of content and you're going to want to hear it again. So I have a previous recording of a live event and I'm going to give you that recording. Then you can go back and listen to and rewatch. And by the way, it's online. So what happens is that you'll be able to start and stop, rewind, make me 150% or whatever you want to do, and be able to get through the Millionaire Jumpstart 3-day training quickly. So that comes with the VIP, and there's limited VIP seats available. Once they're gone, they're gone. And this is easy, guys. You simply go to millionairejumpstart.com, millionairejumpstart.com. Bruce, can you put that in the chat? millionairejumpstart.com. Now, we have another option, and that's general admission. So again, you get the 3-day training, you get the Millionaire Event Manual, you get the live business plan creation workshop, Doing Good While Doing Well book, the pre-event homework package, the official graduation certificate, and the 2-for-1, and it's only $99. So you don't get the consultation, you don't get the dinner, you don't get the special seating, and all the VIP treatment is cut out of that, and you're going to sit in the back on a chair. That's how it works. But you definitely get the opportunity to join me, and this 50% off experience when you come live, that helps to offset your travel. Now, if you do want to go virtual, it is $198 because we have to pay people for that live streaming for the entire event. We have to house them there at the hotel and the whole 9 yards. So it's a little bit more expensive to get it virtual versus in person. Really encourage you to come in person because that's where all the networking occurs. I have made amazing relationships for literally decades by going to events live. So I really encourage you to do that. You're part of the family. You get to meet the whole team. It's quite wonderful. Now, what do you get? Bonuses. So you're going to get my famous purchase and sale agreement, which that's the one that Terry did 5,800 houses using my purchase and sale agreement. Well, guess what's built into that? Subject to buying property, subject to seller financing is built right into it. So a lot of things that you don't see in a traditional real estate agent's document, you're going to see in my document, because we buy creatively. We expect to be able to buy that way. You're going to get a special training that I provide for that document as well. That's recorded, and I'm going to deliver that to you. You're going to get my 37 creative offers to make to sellers. So when we sit down with a seller, we go through that presentation process, but before we got there, we've already come up with 3 different offers to make. This is what I teach you. And I provide you the 37 different offers to choose from before you even go visit with the seller. So you've got at least 3 offers to make. That cost to sell worksheet, the pure gold of the cost to sell worksheet, you're going to get your own there in class, and we're going to actually do it right there in class. So you're going to see how to use that. It is absolutely pure gold. I'm telling you, I've seen so many investors come to me and said, Lou, I would have bought that deal for X dollars. You just made me an extra $15,000, $30,000, $50,000 by using that document right there. I'm going to tell you, this is very unique. It's very special, and it does absolutely work. It's what we use every time. Now, I'm going to go over you in detail the path to home ownership strategy, and I'm going to show you step by step how that works. Amazing. I'm going to go over the 25 profit centers and all the things. You landlords, oh yeah, baby, you want to come and hear this. You want to come and see what we do and how we do it, that we're able to add on thousands of extra dollars on every single house that we've got with these profit centers. You don't have to use all 25 either. You can use a handful of them and make literally thousands of dollars over and above what you're currently earning. Now, we are going to do a live trust creation training, meaning the documents that are recorded on public record, we're going to do those right there in class. So I know you've never seen a training like that. You've never had anybody give you that kind of value for such little money, but I really want to show you everything that we've got. And it takes 3 days. It takes 3 days to go through the whole thing. Money back guarantee, I'm not worried. Nobody ever takes me up on it, but I'm still offering it. I'm giving you the money back guarantee, baby. So you attend all 3 days. If by the end you can't identify at least 5 ways to make an extra $10,000 in the next 90 days, we'll give you a full refund, no hassle, no hard feelings. Enroll now, no risk, because you can cancel. Oh, August, I forgot to change the date there, but definitely before the event, you can cancel up to November the 29th. November the 29th. No penalty, keep any bonuses, all already delivered. So we are going to deliver a lot of stuff to you in advance of the event. And then after the deadline, we'll enroll you into the next MJS, which is going to be in 2026. So this is your last opportunity in 2025 to join me for Jumpstart. And the free gift also is the 2-hour purchase and sale agreement. So those of you that are signing up tonight, millionairejumpstart.com, millionairejumpstart.com, you're also going to get the 2-hour purchase and sale agreement training. Learn how to use the most powerful contract in creative real estate, normally delivered after attending the MJS, but it's yours just for attending today's event. So there you go. It's millionairejumpstart.com/PSA. And you're going to get some education on, I just can't wait for you to see who we are and what we do and how we operate and how we help and how we're unique and how we're different and how what we do makes so much sense. Now, I've been running my company now for over 40 years. I love this business. I think it's amazing. And I want to turn everybody onto it. When you have assets, you win. When you don't have assets, you lose. It's just that simple. Inflation is a real thing. You get the benefit of inflation when you own assets. You get hurt by inflation when you don't. Rents go up, everything. Look, when you own property, you're paying off that loan with worth less dollars. Greatest thing ever created in the world is a 30-year loan. And you get to come in and literally start paying a fixed rate payment. And every year, your dollar's going down, but you're still paying that fixed rate payment. So over a few years, it really cuts in half when your value of your dollar. Yet the value of the property has gone up, the rents have gone up, but your mortgage payment has stayed the same, being paid off with worth less dollars. Best thing ever. And I just love you guys. So definitely want you to join us for Millionaire Jumpstart. 1-800-578-8580. You can speak with Dennis if you have, if you want to talk to him about your payment or how to make your payment or anything like that. He's glad to help you. Or just simply go to millionairejumpstart.com and select what you want. I strongly encourage you to VIP. If you can't do VIP, come on anyway and do the general admission. You're going to love the event. You're going to love the people, and you're going to love what we do. Our events are electric and definitely a lot of fun. This gentleman right here, he became his name is Stephen Seal out of Florida. I bet I don't have a bigger picture of him, but I met him at an event. This is a funny thing. I was at a trade show in Dallas. In fact, that just hit me. It was in Dallas that I was at that trade show at the 5-Star convention. And he came up and I was talking to a vendor and I thought, okay, he wants to talk to that vendor. I'll back off. So I backed off and he says, no, I want to talk to you. And his name is Stephen Seal. And he said, Lou, I bought your package 20 years ago. I bought your whole enchilada. He said, I became the 13th largest owner of single family homes in the United States. And I have over 11,000 owner financed lots. He said, Lou, I did it all with your stuff. He said, your purchase and sale agreement, your buying processes, how you generated the leads to be able to buy the properties, your trust. He said, I used everything you've got. And he said, I absolutely love it. I didn't remember the guy. He bought the stuff 20 years ago and I never seen him again. and he just put it to work. So it's definitely a lot of fun. And he pops up occasionally too. So you never can tell. He might pop in and join us. But we've got amazing people all over the country that have become highly successful using our materials, and definitely want to give you the insight into who we are and what we do. So join us for the VIP. That is the most popular, and definitely want to make sure that you get the VIP treatment. And now we will open it up for questions and answers. So we are right on 90 minutes, my brother. Robin, and now I'm open to just be able to answer anything. If you got a deal that you're working on right now, if you got a trust question, if you got a question about tenants and toilets and trauma, if you got any kind of questions about finding the buyer before you buy, or anything about owning a business in the real estate business, those are the things. And if you're a real estate agent, even more so. I love you. Real estate agents, mortgage brokers, they add on what we're doing to what they're doing all the time, because they always have people they haven't been able to help to get home ownership. And by the way, that's going to be one of the sources I'm going to tell you to go to when you are looking for buyers. Well, guess what? Real estate agents have them. And so we open it up with real estate agents by telling them, we're certified affordable housing providers. We help deserving families to end up with home ownership, regardless of credit or financial background. how does that sound? I always ask them that. And then I ask them, do you have anyone that you haven't been able to help? And they'll tell me, yes, I do, every time. I haven't even ever had one say no. And I say, well, what about this? If you share those folks with me and I'm able to place them into a property, which, by the way, you might be able to help me find that property, you can earn up to a full commission on that lead that you gave me. How does that sound? Oh gosh, they love that, because these are people they weren't able to help. So I want to lay that whole thing out for you. I want to show you how it works. I want to show you how we do what we do. It's an amazing process. All right, what are my questions? Robin, are you following along in the chat there?
Yeah, the only question I saw a little bit earlier was, do you have a specific date for the next MJS after December?
We do. It's don't have it right here on my fingertips, but it's February. It's towards the end of February, I believe.
Okay.
In it, I think that one's in Atlanta.
Bruce,
but I'll get you the details about that.
And Bruce shared the link, millionairejumpstart.com/PSA in the chat. So.
Very good, guys. You definitely go ahead and get your seat reserved. We want to make sure that you are able to join us for the event. We do have occasion where the room is overbooked, and so we have to put you ahead to the next event. So go ahead and get registered so that we know you're coming. And we reserve 2 seats for you. If you're only going to need 1 seat, Dennis will be discussing it with you. So Dennis from my office will be giving you a call and giving you final details. In fact, as soon as you register, we're going to give you all the details about the hotel and everything else. In fact, if you're flying in, you fly right into Atlanta, and the shuttle comes every 30 minutes. And they pick you up from the hotel, bring you over, and you become sequestered for the 3 days. No, your hotel is not included. So yes, you do need, and there's only 1 meal included, and that's the one where the VIPs are going to dinner. So just so you know, Dennis told me, he said, "Can you believe that?" They thought the hotel was included. No, hotel is not included. All right. So what else can I answer? Do we have any hands in the air or anything else that I can give you some insight on? Bruce. Yes, sir.
I believe that the February event you were thinking about is actually Millionaire Deal Maker, not Jumpstart.
It is, but I think the Jumpstart is later that month. But anyway, we'll get the details and give it to people. Let Dennis handle that part.
Okay.
We do have one question from Kimberly and Janine, I guess. Who do you use for third-party trustee?
Third-party trustee. Great question, Kimberly and Janine. All right. So we start with friends and family, and it might be your mother in her maiden name, if it happens to be the same name as you. If she's got a different name than you've got, then we're going to use your mother or your father or your stepfather or your stepmother, or somebody else usually close to the family. Sometimes brother-in-law, sister-in-law, sometimes son-in-law, daughter-in-law. So sometimes what I'm looking for is someone with a different last name. Why? Because generally you're going to be the manager of the property. You're the one that's going to be interfacing with the tenants. You're the one that might be the direct line of fire for them to sue. So I want them not to find anything in your name. That's what I suggest. And so if they look up the property and find the ownership is not your name, that's a handy thing, because we tell them the truth. We tell them we are not the owner. By the way, that is true. You deed out of your name, it goes into the trust, and it's owned by the trust and the trustee. Now, you might be a beneficiary, and it's the trustee's responsibility to pass those assets on to the beneficiary or the beneficiary's beneficiaries. So in other words, you might be the primary beneficiary, and then there can be a successor beneficiary or multiple beneficiaries under you. So we usually set it up that way. And we not only have a primary trustee, we have a successor trustee. So if anything happens to the primary trustee, we can't find them, they quit, they won't sign, doesn't matter, because we've already got a backup trustee built into the trust. And I show you how to do all of that. Now, by the way, not this coming Saturday, but Saturday after that, we're going to be doing a training just on trusts, and Robin is going to let you know about that. Unless you're already signed up, if you're signed up, you're going to be invited to that trust training as well. And by the way, that's going to be things that I'm going to cover on that training that really gets you prepared for MJS, because what I cover on that training, I will not be covering in the class to the depth that I do on that 2-hour training. So want to make sure that you get that benefit as well.
What Karen is asking, are any of the operating bank accounts titled in the name of the trust?
So Karen, it's going to be an entirely different name, like the Phoenix Management Trust, and it will not share any of the names of your individual land trusts. So when you put each property into its own trust, each one of those trusts is going to have a different name. Then separately, you're going to set up a trust bank account, and that's only for the purpose of managing those properties. So in other words, you're going to have the rents paid to you, as agent, and you're going to deposit them into you, as trustees bank account. And so I always say, wherever the money is where you are. So you might not own the real estate, but you are going to control the money that comes off of the real estate, and that's going to go in that special bank account.
Thank you. I'm having trouble finding my video. So I have trouble with banks understanding how the trust operates. And do you file tax returns on the trusts?
Yes. So great question, Karen. And here's how it works. First of all, you obtain an EIN number from the IRS before you go to the bank. And then secondly, I have a unique document. It's an affidavit of trust, and it gives some details about the trust, and generally that's satisfactory for the bank. They're happy with that. And so then they'll go ahead and open the account, and you're going to control the address that's used. I have you get a separate address, not your home address, but to get a mailboxes, etc. I mean, what is it, UPS store now? And you get just a separate address for your management address. And so all documents, everything related to the trust, go to that management address. And so does the bank account statement, the bank statement. And so generally speaking, we don't have a lot of trouble, although if you go to one of the great big banks, sometimes they are trouble. Although I just had one of my students just open one at Bank of America this week, so they didn't have any trouble at all. But sometimes if there's trouble, it's usually with the big banks, not the small banks.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's what I'm encountering with one of the larger banks. They're having difficulty understanding how the trust works. So
Right.
so
And it might be the paperwork, frankly, Karen. It might be the paperwork. So we've been doing this for 40 years. We've figured out some things about what the bank needs to see in order to be happy. And some people haven't been through the experiences that I've been through and helping thousands of people do this. So, we've learned a thing or two about what.
I think that affidavit would be good. So I think that's what they're missing.
Aha. So be sure and join me for the trust training, because you'll
Absolutely.
be able to pick up a lot of good stuff.
That'll be notarized and filed and all that, and that's why they're comfortable with that.
Well, it's notarized, but it's not filed.
Yeah, I was gonna
It's
say
a private document.
Ah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Even the affidavit is not, okay, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now the affidavit, when it's a land trust, that affidavit with the deed, it does get filed. But the one for the personal property trust, which is what we use to open a bank account, that one does not get recorded on public record.
Cool.
It's a beautiful thing.
I've heard that you can get an EIN just for the bank account purpose, and there's some kind of language that you can put in there where you don't have to file a tax return, but I don't know if that's.
Oh, that was the other question Karen asked about the tax returns. So I've got in my land trust system, I've actually got instructions on how you deal with the bank account, with the tax returns. Now, this type of trust that I'm teaching you is what's called a simple trust. According to the IRS, it's a simple trust. Now, what that means is it flows through to the beneficiary's tax return. So all the IRS is really looking for is a way to connect that other number that you just obtained to you. And so by filing the way I teach you to do, then you don't have to actually file a separate tax return on the trust. It actually connects that number to your tax return and you're good. And so I show you how to connect those two things together and make the IRS happy.
And Lord knows we want to do that. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Any other questions, guys? We've I hope you realize you've got one of the most knowledgeable, experienced real estate pros in the country on the call, and he's offering to. I'm tempted to just have a private conversation here in front of all of you with Lou myself and ask him a bunch of questions myself, but I don't want to do that. I'm trying.
You're giving them first dibs. That's what you're saying, Robin.
I am. I'll refrain. Yeah, for now. So
I'm sure they'd love to hear your questions too. So no worries.
yeah. Well, I could tell you about the one document from your property management package that I used was I forget what it's called, but it's the one that basically what I had is a tenant that went off the grid, and he had been a great tenant until he went off the grid, and it was in a fourplex, and people were going in and out because the neighbors were telling me that, so we changed the locks, and that magically generated a call, and then we had to get the mom. It was a younger guy, and then his mom had power of attorney. So we used one of your forms that basically through her, she had the power of attorney. She basically signed the form which said the tenant was relinquishing all rights to everything, and and moving out, and he knows he's breaking the lease, and whichever one of those that form.
That's the property release agreement. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the property release agreement. And yes, it is magic. We use it.
Beautiful.
Oh yeah.
It was beautiful. We didn't have to go through the process of evicting somebody who's in prison and all that nonsense. It worked out perfectly well. So yeah, and saved me lots of time, lots of money. So
I'm so glad that worked out for you for sure.
Yeah.
And that was a topic that you had me speak on a couple of years ago, and that was the property management system. And oh yeah, it's magic. It's got a lot of good stuff in there.
Amazing good stuff. I've used that form now multiple times, and it really helped through COVID when my tenants were giving me issues about, hey, you can't evict me and all this. Well, some of them I got to sign that form, and they actually were thanking me as they moved out of their own free will much faster than an eviction would have would have happened,
Amen.
and much less costly. So, yeah.
Like you said, thousands of dollars that you would have spent if you had gone through a traditional eviction. So yeah, that's worked out fantastic for a lot of people.
So we have another question in the chat here from Joshua. How would you go about buying your first property in today's market? And that kind of goes hand in hand with Cindy's question, which is, are you expecting more and more motivated sellers over the next year or so?
Amen. Well, going about buying your first property, Joshua, I would say, let's go find your first customer. I would say flip the script on the risk of buying the wrong house in the wrong neighborhood at the wrong time with the wrong things wrong with it. And instead go find a customer, which there's plenty of them out there. And what are we going to do? We're going to pre-vet them. We actually have them join our membership. They pay $50 to join the Path to Homeownership membership. And then their form that they fill out online immediately goes to our licensed mortgage loan originator, who is a CAP. He's a certified affordable housing provider too. And what he does is he connects with them. He collects up all their documentation. He reviews everything. And then he gives you a one-page report on your customer. And he tells you everything you need to know in order to start working with them. Either that they're going to be mortgageable in 30 days, or they're going to be more mortgageable in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or never, as the case may be. And never works too, by the way. If they've got down payment and income, we'll still put them into a property, and then we become the bank for them rather than a traditional bank. So it's good to know who you're working with, Joshua, and then you can custom buy a property for that person. You can put the blinders on instead of looking at all kinds of different properties all over the place. No, that person is telling you, I can not, they're not telling you that. We have determined that they can afford X dollars. We've looked at their bank account. We know how much money they have in the bank account that they can or use towards down payment money and or option fee money, as the case may be, and then the monthly payment that they can afford. So using that, we're now going to go about finding a property that we can buy right, buy cheap, and buy creatively. Joshua, this is the safest way to do this business. You do it with an end in mind, and you save a fortune in closing costs and all the things that it typically costs to do this business.
Gives you so much more flexibility too, right?
It really does.
The buyer, you know what they can afford, you know what they're qualified for, and so matching the house to them or them to the house becomes a lot easier, it seems. So.
I'll give you a quick example. So I have I don't like condos at all, and you know, wholesalers bring me condos all the time. By the way, that's where I get a lot of my deals, is from wholesalers. I'm busy. I don't have time to, go beat the bushes on a daily basis. And so wholesalers, I've got hundreds literally of wholesalers in my phone, and they're constantly coming with different opportunities. Well, I've done the heavy lifting in finding the buyers. So I've already got pre-qualified people that when they bring me the right deal, I'm able to now place them right into that property or show it to them and have them say yes or no to it. And so the fun thing is, I had this lady contact me, and I'm listening to her story, and she's a reservationist with Delta Airlines, and she's been living in her daughter's basement for 3 years. And she had a bad bout, and she lost her apartment or whatever she had. And she hears about our program. She joins twice a month. I have a call with your customers, right? So everybody that joins the membership, they get invited to a live call where I'm on there, and I actually go through case studies. We pick people out of the audience and do a case study with them. It's a wonderful thing. And so, in other words, I'm going to help you in your business. So whenever you have people join the membership, I'm going to invite them twice a month on the first and third Tuesday of every month to come to a live event. And it's online, just like this is. And they ask questions and I answer all their questions. I give them a rundown on how the path to homeownership works. And then we start doing case studies. Well, anyway, she was one of those people. She was on there and she tells me her story. And then I interview her. I ask her, how much is your total household income? And I find out how much down payment she has. And then I ask the question, as I always do, are you willing to do some or all of the repairs to the property? Because typically when we find a property, it's going to need painting. It might need some cleaning. It might need some things. I don't know what your skills are, but tell me, would you be willing to do some or all of the repairs? And almost every time people say yes. And what that means is that whatever down payment they have, now I can add money to it because I can give them credit for work that they're going to do to the property that I would have spent money on. So get this, guys, that money for those repairs is still in my pocket. They're going to do the repairs. I'm going to give them a credit, which where does the credit come from? Out of thin air is where it comes from. So you don't have to actually write a check for it. It's a credit that you're going to give them towards their down payment. And that's money that you kept in your pocket. So I hope you caught the brilliance in that. So the opportunity is that now, so I talked to her and I said, well, Terry, let me ask you a question. There's a unit that's been presented to me that you might be interested in. And I literally got her name and number and sent her over there the next day. And she loved it. And she's been a great customer now for about a year and a half now. Paying she put money down. She fixed up the place. She did everything. And she's been a great testimony to excite people. And she's just, snug as a bug. Now, would I have bought that condo, Joshua? No way. I would not have bought that condo. But now, what did I pay for the condo? I paid, let me think now. What did I pay? Now this is taxing the memory a little bit. I think I paid like $35,000 and I sold it to her for, a lot more. A lot more. And so anyway, I'll have to get you the numbers and give you some more details about that one. But it turned out to be fantastic. So I got down payment money. I didn't have to fix it up. And I was able to get cash flow now every single month off of that property. And I also teach you how to raise money, by the way. So we raise all of our money when it is a cash deal. We raise our money privately, and we're able to be able to purchase deals when it is a cash deal. We're able to purchase it that way. So there's an opportunity, for everybody on here that you don't have to put yourself at risk when you're doing this business, and you can do amazing deals and just not have the pain and suffering that most real estate investors do. Let's see here.
Other question.
Let's see here. I think I see some more comments in the box here.
I keep hearing you say things that I want to expand on, Lou.
I love it.
Like,
I love it.
Like, did I hear there? You didn't really say this, but like, you raise money privately. I know there's a variety of different ways you can structure things like that, but I can think of one where perhaps somebody, you say, well, if you'd like to invest with us, we can pay you X%. That's attractive enough to that private investor. But then when you're turning around and selling it to a credit challenged buyer that has a good job and a good income, and some blip happened where they can't buy a property otherwise, now they you can charge them a much higher interest rate, and you gain that spread in the middle. You've got happy private investors. You've got happy homeowners. Am I?
You got it, man. You got it nailed. You got, everybody's happy. Everybody's happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy that I'm not a landlord. I'm happy that I helped a deserving family towards home ownership. I'm happy that I solved a problem of a seller, and I'm happy that I can solve a problem of a lender too, because there's a lot of people that have money sitting in a checkbook and they just don't know what to do with it, and they don't want to take the risk of the stock market, and they don't believe in crypto like me. And you know, there's just all kinds of weirdness out there that they just say, you know what, I think I'm just going to sit on the sidelines. And then we come along and Robin, instead of telling them what we'll pay, we do a lot of asking. We do a lot of questioning, and we ask, say, let me tell you about what we're doing. We're helping deserving families end up with home ownership, regardless of credit or financial background. How does that sound? Okay, fantastic. And occasionally these people come along and we're able to find a property for them, and we need to be able to have cash for that. Now, sometimes we can take over existing financing. We need a little cash for that. Or sometimes we have to pay cash for the property. Let me ask you a question. Do you know somebody that might have some money, you know, in their checkbook, IRA, 401k, that they might want to put to work using safe, secure real estate at way below market? Do you know anybody like that? See, I don't go direct, Robin. I go kind of sideways.
Right.
So, well, what about me? You don't think I have any money?
Brilliant. Again, brilliant. Yes. You know,
it's so much fun.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
then we just open the door, and I also gift them the book as well. I give them the Doing Good While Doing Well book. That's another piece of the puzzle. That's my Amazon international bestseller since 2014. So it's a real door opener.
Yeah. Cool.
I think we got another couple of comments in the chat, and then we can let everybody go. Let's see here. I've got some thank yous. Thank you. Thank you for letting me give you some great information, and look forward to seeing you at the event. Definitely join us. Those of you that are joining us, let me know in the chat. Hey, I'll see you at MJS. I'll see you at MJS. Cindy says, I like the indirect. And also, you say money they might want to put to work. Awesome way to put it. Perfect. Zena, yes. Yeah, baby. Welcome. Glad you're going to join us. Looking forward to all of you being in that class. It's very special when we can be together and I can just lay the whole thing out for you over the 3 days, because I go a lot deeper and I give you the forms, and you're able to really step by step understand what to do and how to do it. That whole wealth wheel that I shared with you earlier, that is the format of the class. So we're going to cover that entire wealth wheel while we're together. Let's see. Now, maybe I don't have money to invest, and so you got issues like, hey, where's the money? Creative Financing Solutions is LouBrown. You have come to the right place, because remember, I'm the guy that's never been to the bank, never qualified for a loan on over 1,000 transactions. Now, how in the world is that possible? You're going to learn. The seller is the bank. I approach every seller with that in mind. And if that's not the case, then I'm going to raise the money privately, exactly as I just told you. My market is too competitive. We don't worry about that at all. We are not worried about competition. It's just not even on our radar as a concern. Why is that? Because we find deals that nobody else knows about. Now, remember, what am I doing? I'm finding that buyer when first I'm getting them fully vetted through our program, and then I'm sending them out in the market to find off-market deals that are not in the MLS. They're not anywhere. And they're the ones finding me, you know, the gutters falling off, or it's got blue tarp or tall grass or whatever. You find that people are a lot more entrepreneurial than you think they are when it's for themselves. When it's, you know, they realize this is an opportunity. They realize that they're part of this game if they want it to happen. And honestly, that's the mindset that I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody that wants this house. I'm not looking for somebody that's a renter. I'm looking for somebody that wants to have home ownership and has that mindset. Let's see, I don't have good credit. Well, doesn't matter, because we don't use credit. Like if I've never been to the bank and qualified for a loan, I've never used my credit. The only time I've ever used my credit is for credit cards. That's it. And that's it. And you don't need much of that either. So I'm worried about legal issues. I'm teaching you about trusts. You're going to get your name off public record. That's what I strongly encourage you, that you do not need to have your name on public record. There's no good reason for it. Not one good reason, not one. And when you've got the benefit of trusts that provide you probate avoidance, there's nothing better than that. And I'm going to teach you a bunch of stuff on trusts in a couple of weeks too. And then, will this work in my area? Yeah. Yeah. We've got many successful people in Dallas and Houston and all over Texas. And I'm an investor in Texas too. So yeah, it works in Texas. I love it. You know, it's just a fun business. In fact, that's what we're building in Lubbock. We're calling Path to Home Ownership, and the entire community is called the Path to Home Ownership. And we have purchased that land, and we're working with that builder, the same builder that got in trouble. He's going to be building the houses, and they're all, well, I'm going to say all, many of those houses are going to be offered on the Path to Home Ownership. Now watch this. They're 4-sided brick. They're 1,280 square feet. They are fenced in backyard, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-car garage, around $200,000. And it's a sweet spot in that area. And we're just going to build them throughout that community. And we're going to have a little homeowners association. So everybody's front yard is going to be mowed, and everything's going to be taken care of and kept up and looking good. And that's our plan. We met with the city, met with nonprofit organizations, down payment assistance, doing a lot of really unique things with those brand new homes. So, you know, that's what we're doing over in Lubbock. And it's same program I'm teaching you tonight is the Path to Home Ownership.
Doing good. Well, doing well.
Yeah, baby. It's a beautiful thing. Well, thanks for joining me tonight, guys. I'm looking forward to seeing you at Millionaire Jumpstart. Don't miss this opportunity. I promise you, it's unlike any other event you've ever been to. It's unlike the information that you've gotten from other places. The documentation is unlike documentation that you've seen. And it's just a unique business model from start to finish. So if your intention is to be successful in real estate, then my intention is to help you get there. So we're going to spend that 3 days together, and I'm going to lay the whole thing out for you. Hopefully that'll be very, very valuable for you.
Karen has one more question. She says, is the Bring a Friend free in person only?
What, once again?
She says, is the Bring a Friend free in person only?
No, you can bring your friend free if you do the online streaming. So it's either in person or online.
Thank you. This has been very informative. And I personally have experience with a personal trust. And I'm going to tell you that whole avoid and probate and all of that was a godsend.
Oh, thank you for that share.
Yeah, it is truly the way to go. And I had put all my family's stuff in a trust. And so that helped us out when we needed it. So
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you so much for that share. It's encourage, you know, a lot of people like trust is over there somewhere,
right.
and it's like 100% new information. So they don't really know how to navigate it and what to do, but it's the greatest thing ever. And you're so right about that. It just avoids all the pain and suffering. I call it the expense, the delay, the attorneys, the judges, the court, all of that stuff, and breakups with families too. That's another thing that happens when the money is not readily available. You know, they're afraid somebody's stealing it. And, you know, you just eliminate all that when the trust is already in place, the assets are already in the trust, and then it states in the trust who gets it. So there's no need for the court to decide who gets it because it's already decided. It's in the trust. So that's a great share, Karen. Thank you.
And
Yeah,
Lewis said that's his favorite part also.
Pardon?
Lewis said that's the trust was his favorite part of the presentation also. Yeah.
Yeah, baby. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. All right, guys, and here's your last chance, 1-800-578-8580. Go to millionairejumpstart.com and get registered there. And you can, if you call Dennis, he'll answer any other questions you have about the event or about timing. If you can't come to this one, yes, he'll give you the dates for the upcoming one. Hopefully you can get to this one because it's going to be quite awesome. But definitely it's very entertaining when you come there too. It's not dry at all. So want to make sure that you understand the information. We do ahas throughout the event, so you're able to learn from other people's ahas that are often you didn't catch it as an aha until they said it, and then you go, wow, that's an aha for me too. So that's another benefit that you're going to get as well. All right, Mr. Robin Carragher, thank you so much for inviting me to the DFWREI, and glad that I could give you another installment of information.
Love it. Absolutely. Gold, like you said. I mean, just phenomenal. Once again, Lou, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everybody get signed up. I think tonight has given you some idea of the, just as we have barely scratched the surface here of all the wonderful stuff that that you can learn from Lou. So anyway, all right, thanks guys. Call me if you have any questions. 817-300-1132. Be happy to help. All right, see y'all.
Fantastic.
Thanks again, Lou.
Take care. You can come off of mute and say good night if you want to.
Everybody unmute and say goodbye. Good night.
Good night, Robin.
Good night. Good night, Robin. Good night, Gracie.
There's Cindy.
Hope to see some of the people who we don't.
And Zena, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic. Glad you came.
Do you live in Atlanta?
I do.
Yeah.
You can tell he's really cool.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, I love that part. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
That's pretty cool.
And a bagger.
That's one of my fun things. Yeah. Good time with that.
Absolutely.
I don't know what you said before Austin Powers, Lou. I don't know. I don't know what you.
I had
shtick
no
was.
I had no shtick before Austin Powers.
Well, you come a long
But
way,
since
baby.
then it's been a lot of fun.
You come a long way, baby.
You got it.
Love it. Thanks for the humor.
All right, y'all take care.
See y'all.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.